Recently, according to Russian media reports, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said in an interview with the media that he is ready to meet with the Chinese head of state in Ukraine. He also added that throughout 2022, he has not had any contact with Chinese leaders. There are actually two key points in Zelensky's statement. The first is that he hopes to meet face-to-face with Chinese leaders in Ukraine. The second is to emphasize that he has not had any contact with Chinese leaders in the past 2022. It doesn't take much political sensitivity to hear a trace of complaint from the Ukrainian president's statement. On the one hand, he emphasized that he is willing to meet with Chinese leaders in Ukraine, which is actually a response to China's previous visit to Russia. The underlying meaning is that since China has chosen a neutral position and visited Russia, it should also visit Ukraine. Invisibly, it is putting pressure on China. On the other hand, he said that he did not have any contact with Chinese leaders in 2022, which may be an indirect allusion to the meeting and phone call between China and Russian President Putin in 2022 in the past. To put it bluntly, the implication may still be alluding to China's position on the Russia-Ukraine conflict, which did not satisfy them, and even intentionally exaggerated that China is biased towards Russia, which is why it has more contacts with Russia and less contact with Ukraine. So, is this really the case? Undoubtedly, of course not. The reason why China has more contacts with Russia and less contact with Ukraine has nothing to do with China. Instead, it has something to do with the Ukrainian government and Zelensky's personal choice. Of course, it needs to be emphasized that China did not participate in the Russia-Ukraine war, but was a neutral third party. The normal exchanges between China and Russia are based on non-alignment, non-confrontation, and non-targeting of third parties. They neither pose a threat to any country in the world nor are they subject to interference or instigation by any third-party forces. First of all, the reason why China has more contacts with Russia is because there are huge trade links between China and Russia, and the two sides have many areas of cooperation and common interests, so naturally there are more contacts. Secondly, from the perspective of the Ukrainian crisis, since Russia launched a special military operation, except that Ukraine expressed its willingness to negotiate peace at the very beginning of the war, for most of the time since then, the Zelensky government has insisted on fight to the end with Russia. In the past year or so, all of Ukraine's diplomatic activities have basically revolved around the core of how to get more military assistance from other US and Western countries. However, from the beginning to the end, China's attitude towards the Russia-Ukraine conflict, in addition to remaining neutral, has another key word: persuading peace and promoting talks. That is to say, we are willing to do anything that is conducive to the ceasefire negotiations between the two sides. Furthermore, although the Ukraine crisis has affected the whole world, China also has its own strategic demands to resolve.